All right. So let's give this another try. Hey, Susie, I see you out there. If you would just give me a shout out and say, hey, hello, hi. I am trying to get my stream up here for comments. Okay, this is not working. Why are you not picking this up? Okay, so you guys are seeing me and hearing me? Good. I'm not hearing and seeing myself. That's so bizarre. Okay, let's try that. Try this again. Hey, there I am. Okay, you can see me and you can hear me. Awesome. Third time's a charm? Technology sometimes it's crazy, and I do it for a living. You would think that, like, why do we do this? Okay, yes. Hey, let's try this again. So audio sounds good, I hope. Video sounds good. And hopefully, fingers crossed, cross everything, guys, that it all just works out perfectly. Okay, good. Okay, so for the third time, I wanted to tell you guys what stamp set we're going to be using next month, and it is from Picket Fence Studios. It is called Face the Sun, and I really, really love this stamp set. The huge, I mean, look at how big that is. It's like my whole hand. So I really love it. I love the sentiments in it. You can see a better picture of it in the community tab over on my channel homepage. And then I've got some links for it. Now I don't have the links for today's stuff. That's not the right thing. You're going to have to hang out and do your shopping afterwards. I'm going to have to pop that down into the description of this video and all that good stuff. But we talked a little bit about this last week, and I had it up earlier, so maybe you guys caught it. So, what a pain. Okay, so today, of course, we're back into Build a Flower Begonia, which is like all the way over there. We're going to grab that. Okay, so we are still on our Build a Flower Begonia, and we're going to use it full size today on both of our cards. And we're going to do some die cutting, but we're going to do some watercoloring with metallic watercolors. So the Altenew metallic watercolors, I love these. They're so much fun to play with. And we're also going to use the Pink Fresh plus Altenew. Oh gosh, it looks awful. Okay, so there's a light right in front of this. There we go. That's helpful. So the Altenew plus Pink Fresh paper pack. Okay, so this is the Celebrate paper pack. It just came out a couple weeks ago. And yeah, I'm going to add in the links in the description. It will all be there afterwards. So just grab those later. Okay, so I'm going to flip down so you guys can get a good view of these cards. You're going to love them. Okay, so combination of that Pink Fresh Altenew paper and the metallic watercolors. So you see that metallic in there? Ooh, ooh la la, ooh la la. Right? So pretty. Okay, so that's the first card. And then the second card, I wanted to show off that metallic watercolor on black. So really cool. Very good. Well, Sue, I'm glad that I could have some technology difficulties so you could go get a cup of tea. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now that I'm like all blah, let's get started. So you're going to see over there. Did that? Oh, wrong way. That way. There we go. A new card sketch for this time. And oh, you know what? I didn't change that. Let me change that for you guys. Let's see if I can break something and change the sketch. Oh, poop. That's going to be a tall order because I don't actually have it on this computer. Okay, so I'm going to cancel that. Bummer, guys. Okay, so I'm going to draw it for you. I do actually have a graphic done for it. I just forgot to swap it out. So let me draw it for you. So it is like so, and then it's got the line, and we've got a round element here, but then behind it is a round element tucked behind. So this is the basic sketch that we're working from today. And I'm just going to turn this one off because it's wrong. Bloop. Let me get rid of that. You guys don't need that. So this is the sketch we're going to use. So you can really tell here. So I've got that strip and then the round element and then the round element behind it. So that's one way to interpret it. And then the other way that I'm going to do that is to flip it. So the sketch is actually drawn this way. So I'm going to flip it. And then you've got the round here with the leaf behind as the part of the sketch. And then this long strip sentiment to make that line. Instead of doing a big fat line, I just interpreted it as a smaller line. Okay. So, man, I'm striking out all over the place today. And you know what else? I do need another stamp set for this guy. And the stamp set for this. Boy, guys, I forgot everything today. All right, there's that stamp set. And where's the new photos? Okay. So the sentiments come from the new Mega Label Love from Altenew. And Painted Greetings. This is an oldie but a goodie, but it's got some really nice sentiments in here. So Becca, thank you for your support. I appreciate it a whole ton. Okay, so let's start with this one. And so I'll grab that and I'll set these guys aside. And I've got my card base. Now, the cool thing about the black one later, I guess I'll show you, is that it's just black cardstock. It's not black watercolor paper or anything like that. It's just black cardstock. So that and that. And then, so for this background, I picked the same cardstock pattern and just chopped it up. So I don't know, I don't remember which way this went on here. But so I cut down the one piece to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 to fit right on the card front. And then the remaining, I had this remaining strip that I was able to use for the other card. So there you go. Kate, thank you so much. How dare I be disorganized? Ah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there we go. That's better. And then I've got some watercolor paper. All right. I think I cut an extra piece that I didn't need. All right. So I thought you can use the embossing ink, no problem, right? But for this guy here, I'm going to be stamping it in the Delicata dark brown shimmer. And I thought, well, I'll just stamp everything in that because it will all emboss just fine. And then I don't have to worry about having more than one ink, right? Okay, so the Delicata is a pigment ink. It is got a shimmer to it. You probably can't really tell from the video, but there's definitely a shimmer to it. And it's a nice dark brown color. It's water-based, so you can clean it up really easy. You don't need any special cleaning solution. Okay, so I'm just going to grab out the stamps that I need from this guy today so I can set it aside. And I've got just a piece of plain old Strathmore 140-pound cardstock. And then my anti-static powder. And we're ready to stamp. Yay! Okay. Let's see. I'm so glad to see all of you out here. I see some new folks, so thank you for joining. I've got someone from France out there. That is so awesome. Bonjour. Je parle un peu français. And there's probably a terrible accent, but I used to speak it a little better. I'm out of practice, obviously. And I'd love to learn more conversational French. I'm working on Spanish right now, though. Okay. So there's that. And I'm going to do my leaf as well. All right. Set those aside for the moment. Okay. And then I'm using copper embossing powder. Copper, I love copper. But it's not super popular right now, but I still have a whole ton of it because I love it. And I thought since we're doing all sorts of different metallics, that it would be cool to do something different than the typical, gold or silver. I thought about using the Altenew Platinum, which is a really pretty color as well. But I decided eventually on copper. Oh, cool. So, Christine, are you UK English or American English? You capitalize it, so I'm guessing England English. The UK. Okay, awesome. I lived in Germany for 4 years with the military. And so sprechen nur ein bisschen Deutsch. I know how to say I speak a little in almost every language. Okay, so we're going to do some easy watercolor with this. And I think that's kind of the best way to tackle the metallic watercolors because they're super, super intense. And it's easy to end up getting too much on there and then you kind of lose everything. So we're going to do just a simple watercolor. And then the colors that I'm going to use are copper, since I did the copper on here. And then for the green, I'm going to use the Prasiolite instead of the jade. It's a softer green. And it's super, super pretty. Do I know of a UK stockist? I don't. I might have to. I'll look up and see if I can find any. You might want to check. Oh, what's their name? Little Paper Tree. They're based in the UK. They might have it. I think they carry picket fence, but I don't know. Okay. And I'll do some looking up and see if I can find one for you. All right. So we're going into the copper here. And I mean, it is a really, really strong color, guys. So I clean off my brush here. I just want to get a little bit of water down first before I go crazy with the copper. So I am just going to just put a little bit of water all over. And I'll do the leaf too, just to kind of let it soak in a little bit. Okay. So now I can go into this copper. I am using my Transon brushes. These are my favorite. This is the number 3 brush. So it's kind of medium. And seriously, I'm just doing like these little kind of pecky dot things with it. And you can water this down quite a bit and still get a very intense color. Okay, so while we're on like the topic of having crappy technology today, can you guys hear a humming right now? Oh, and I didn't mention, Susie, this is the Altenew metallic watercolors. And I know there's a couple other companies out there that make metallic watercolors as well. You can get, FinTech makes them. You can get ones, I think, from Prima Craft. I think they still have a metallic watercolor set. So lots of different metallic watercolors. And they're all, from what I've seen on metallic watercolors, they're all kind of the same as far as like being really intense to start with. So definitely, water them down a lot and just kind of play around with them until you kind of understand how intense they can be. So I'm really just using this to accentuate that copper embossing that I did. And it's not super pretty yet, but it'll get there. Can't hear humming, occasionally hear static. Okay, I'll check that out on the replay because my computer's over here and it is like humming away and I'm just like, crazy. And I'm wondering if the static isn't coming from the fact that my microphone is like right here. I'm sure you guys can hear that because I was just like totally touching the microphone. And I've got a camera right next to it. And I'm wondering if that might have some interference going on. So if that's the case, I'll have to mess around with some different setups. All right, so basically what I'm doing now is I've got a clean brush and I'm actually pushing the color back. And that's helping to blend the line a little bit and then push some darker color back into the recesses of the flower petals. And if I feel like I'm starting to get too much color on my brush, then I'm wiping it off on my rag here. So as you can see, I mean, look at how little I have here and how little I've put on this, and it's still like super intense. I mean, it's just the right amount. It's not like taking over the flower. And so see, by doing this, I'm softening up that edge line and then helping to push the darker color back into the edge of the flower. There. And I think it makes it look a whole ton nicer. It's like reverse shading. Okay. I like that you guys are having like your own technology conversation. You're talking about something that I have no idea. I'm not super familiar with all the intricacies of chat. I probably should learn that a little bit more. All right, so that will finish up our flower here. There we go. So now it's nice and finished. And it's got just a nice amount of sheen to it. It's not overtaking it, but you can definitely, like when you see it in person, you're like, oh, that's coppery and shiny and shimmery. And You can still see a lot of white underneath it. So hardly using any of the ink at all, any of the pigment. Okay, so then we're going to go into the Prasiolite, which is this one here. And I did pre-wet these, but a lot of the water has soaked in, and that's okay because I don't need a whole lot. So again, not a whole lot going on here. And this I'm just going to kind of run down. So it's kind of a grayish green. It's really quite pretty. And if I want to do a little bit more green, I can add some of the jade in there. And I'm just going along the veins. And that's it. That's all I need on that. So like, super done, super fast. Miss Tamp, I need to restock on watercolor paper too. I'm running out. So anyway, so there's those two pieces. Yeah, that technique with the clean brush is really kind of nice. So it got rid of like all of the hard lines that I had there, and I just kept pushing it back and wiping it off and pushing it back and wiping it off. It really does make a super nice look. So compared to the sample that I did, this one I added in some more for a more defined look. So now if I wanted to, I could come back and just put some more detail in here if I wanted to. So come in and with a little bit more intense and really just stick to those shadowy areas. But I don't have to. I can leave it just plain too. So it's all up to you how subtle you want the look to be. There. All right, so I'm going to set this aside for a moment, and we're going to put our card together. I'm just going to kind of close this out of the way for a moment. Okay. So I've got a piece of white, and I need my MISTI. I don't know if you guys saw, but the improved MISTIs are on their way. So it's called MISTI 2.0. And some of the new features include, so you know how if you have a MISTI, this is like a sticker that's on here. So the new MISTIs have a permanent cut ruler. So it's not a sticker. It's actually like an embedded cut ruler. So you have like the marks, just like you do now on the top, how it's like a laser etched ruler. So now this is going to be a laser etched ruler. And then the hinges, right now, the hinges just have a plastic piece in the middle. So the new hinges will have metal in here. And then the lid, you know, we all have our little tab on the end here so we can open our lid really well. So the new one, it hangs over just a little bit, so you don't need to put your tab on there anymore. You can just lift it up with your finger. And then on the back, it has a little space for your bar magnet. So those are all the nice little improvements that they've done to the MISTI. And those start shipping this weekend, as far as I know. Okay, so let's get a stamp on here. And I did Miss You, which I like. I'll look for, so if I wanted to, I could do celebrate or congrats. Those would work well. So let's do one of those. If you saw my Altenew live a couple weeks ago, we talked about the label stamp sets, and I find these to be the same as the other label stamp sets. So they're kind of designed to be like a one of those little label maker labels. And so you aren't going to get a super clean impression. So you can see that on the Miss You here, how like the M is a little bit covered. It's going to be like that because that's the style of the stamp. So if you don't like that style, then I'd skip the stamp set. Yeah, so Becca, they talked about it at Creativation back in January, and I saw it then. And I think they were originally going to be coming out with it end of May and into June, but because of COVID, they did not. They got pushed a little bit. Okay, so see how that's got some kind of, it's like kind of grungy a little bit. It's just like if you were to use one of those little handheld label makers. Okay. That's good. All right. So this has some metallic to it. And it reminds me a lot of the Altenew metallic ink pads, the gold ones that they have. It dries pretty quick. All right. So that's Mega Label Love. And let's get to some assembly. Put this over here. There we go. And the Delicata will come back because we're going to use that to stamp our other projects. Good. Okay. I guess I did cut an extra piece. Maybe that was just in case I made a mistake. You guys are like off on a tangent about tagging people and you're so funny. Ah, and Roberta, did you see Miss Tam, did you see what Roberta called you? That's so funny. I'm sure it was a typo. All right, so, you know, I've told you before, I'm not always a fan of patterned paper, but it definitely has its place, right? I mean, poof, I've got a gorgeous background. So I've started to get a little selective about the pattern paper I buy because I was a collector, like many of you, I'm sure. And kind of bugged me that I had all this paper, but I wasn't using it all. All right. So I just saw your message there, Miss Tamp. Yeah, funny. Haha. Okay. So I'm just going to cut this guy out. No need for a die because you can just go right along the line. Yeah, I really, really love this paper pack. And I like, so basically the way I look at it is that Pink Fresh did like the paper and the ephemera. They were the lead on that. And it probably came from their printing company, whoever they used for their printing. And then Altenew kind of did the stamp side of things. That's what I'm guessing, at least. And I like that the Pink Fresh paper, the 6x6 packs, there's nothing on the back of them. They're all single-sided. So you don't have to pick and choose. You can, if you like it, use it, right? You don't have to worry about what's on the back side of it because they're all single-sided. Which makes me happy because sometimes I didn't want to cut into a piece of paper because I liked both sides and I didn't know what I was going to do. Oh, that's good, Sue. Use it up, right? Oh my goodness, use it all up. There's no, you know, pattern paper doesn't go bad. It just, sometimes it goes out of style or you decide you don't like it anymore. But yeah, use it, use it, use it. Okay, so we need to do some die cutting here. I'll just pop in with the mini blossom today. How about that? And my dies. Yeah, I really enjoyed that whole Pink Fresh Altenew collab. as soon as I got asked as a designer if I wanted to participate, I was like, yeah, two of my favorite companies. There was no way I was going to miss that, right? So, oh, hey, I don't know if you guys get the, oh, yeah, I'll show you. I don't know if you guys, excuse me, if you get the Altenew emails, but they came out with one, I think it was yesterday, as a matter of fact, and they're doing a podcast. And the first podcast was with Tasneem and with Jen, so the co-founders of Altenew. And it was super fun and interesting. It was very good. Very good. Let's see. Yeah, I think so I've worked with this stamp set so much that I totally agree with you, Becca. I think it looks like a rose. I don't think it looks like a begonia at all in this style, especially. So, yeah. Okay, so Paula's looking for storage ideas, so I'll show you that as soon as I get this guy finished, because we're almost done with this card. So there you go. That's what we're looking at. And I just have a couple little things here. So we've got our gold thread, and I have a piece already pulled apart from a previous project. So what I'm going to do is put a couple of foam squares on here, a couple, 3. And let's we can kind of glue everything together. So remember, I'd say look at the sketch, but there's no sketch to look at today. So this is taking the place of that long strip. It's a short strip this time. And I'm just going to glue these guys together like that. And then the leaf is that second round element that's peeking from behind the straight element. Like so. So see, I have this foam bit in the wrong place. So that's kind of how I interpreted the sketch for this one. So round element, roundish element, whatever, the second element that goes behind the linear element. So that's how I interpreted that whole thing. So let me put some more of those on. See, and then this whole thing will be able to just go on together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take off my foams from here. And then I've got my piece of thread. This is 3-ply thread from Altenew, and I just kind of worry the edge and then turn it into single ply. I pull the 3 apart. So if I want a little bit more for the bottom, which I kind of do, just pull out a whole bit of it, probably about 20 inches or so even. And then just gonna see how the 3 ends like to just come right apart. So twist a little bit more and then just pull one and then pull the rest of it down so that way it untangles itself. And then at some point you get a single piece. And then I have these 2 pieces left for my next project. All right, and then I'll just go around some fingers again. So nice little loopity loops. I'll pop those back here. So I wanted some to extend below and some to extend above, and that will work out well. So pop these guys off. And then onto the card we go. See, super, super cool, right? And having the background cardstock for this is perfect because you've already done so much with the flower and everything that it just kind of makes sense to leverage some pattern paper so you don't have to create everything from scratch. Although you could, like if you really wanted to, you could definitely create something for the background And I just don't like the way that was. There, that's better. All right, and then if you want, you can add in some sequins. And of course, I want to add in some sequins. So I'll pop some down here. I try to keep them contained, otherwise they're too hard to pick up later. And then I have so much of this on point glue, it's ridiculous. So I'll be using that till the end of time. And then I'll get some matte media glue. Back here. There we go. All right. So, you know, I'm always doing these guys in threes, because threes are appealing to the eye. There we go. All right, the thing with this glue is you always have to get it closed right away, otherwise you run the risk of it drying up inside. All right, so there we go. Oh, sorry. So Ms. Tamp, no, this is not the new sketch challenge. The new sketch challenge is based on a recent Altenew sketch starter that I did. It is, let me draw it for you. Ooh. So the new sketch challenge is this. And it just has one piece down the center. So it's literally just that. And I had a lot of fun with this one. You'll see it over on my blog. We're not actually using this sketch for any of the Begonia projects, so you know. Okay. So we will move on to our second card since our time is running short. Okay, so I know I said I was going to show you the stamp storage, and I will, I promise. I just want to get this started so it has a minute to dry. Okay, so I've got black cardstock, the leftover piece from the Pink Fresh, and then I've got my stamp set here. So we have some stamping and embossing to do. And I'm just going to use the same Delicata dark brown. So Delicata is by Tsukaneko. If you don't know how to say that, it starts with a T, T-S-U-K. And this is a Japanese company. They make all the bestest inks. And I totally didn't put down any anti-static, so we'll see how that turns out. And so they do VersaFine Clear, Memento, all those good inks. So they also do the Delicata lines of inks, which are shimmery inks. Oh, that turned out good. And this is just plain black cardstock. Okay, so I've got my two pieces here, and then I'm going to do my sentiment on the card base while I'm thinking of it. And then we can be done with all of the embossing. Okay, so I just have another piece of black cardstock. They're both the same size, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'll grab, it's a little space at the bottom, so really the hello works well. The little XO would work well. And again, I'll use the Delicata. The nice thing about using this instead of an embossing ink is that sometimes you don't see the embossing ink clearly. And so this way you at least get some tint on it and you know what you're looking at. That you've got a nice clean impression and that you don't have to worry about stamping it again or anything like that. All right, so that's really the only reason I use the Delicata. You could do this whole thing with your regular embossing ink. Well, that, and then I used it for the sentiment here. Okay. So done with all of that, done with this. Knowing my luck today, if I leave this open, it's going to go everywhere. So we'll close that and get it out of the way. And let's get some of this. All right. Let's see. Oh, Kate, did you link it up to the sketch challenge? Do you know about the sketch challenge? Oh, Teresa, I forget anti-static all the time. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Today it worked. And I'm sure that's everybody, you know. I mean, you see all of us doing videos and things and you're thinking, oh, it's perfect. No, we make mistakes. We refilm. It happens all the time. All right, so down there. Okay. Cool, guys. You got all sorts of good comments. Okay, so Kate, I don't know if you heard me. Did you link up your sketch with, or your project with the sketch challenge? Because you totally should. If you don't know about the sketch challenge, yes, at least oh, okay. I'll check it out and I'll let you know. Okay, so that's gonna go right on the card base, but we need to make it fun first. So we'll do this, then we'll put on some stuff on here, and then I'll pull out that my storage. Okay, so for the background, I'm just going to do, this is one of my favorite colors from here. This is called Rhodolite, and it is like this purple silver color. It is just the coolest color. And I don't know, to be honest with you, I think I probably used the rose quartz. Oh, no, maybe not. But I'm just going to go ahead and balloon this on here like so. I mean, guys, I'm not doing anything. All right, and then I'm going to go into, I decided to go into the Enchanted Gold. It's a super yellowy gold. So this, the gold pearl is not as gold, but the Enchanted Gold has like a super yellowiness to it. So I'm just going to kind of go on top. A lot of this is going to get covered up because that piece of pattern paper is going to go over it. So I'm not really worried about how this turns out. So where's my pattern paper? It's hiding. Oh, it's hiding under here. See, that's going to go right over most of it. So you're not going to see a whole lot of this. Okay, but then what I'm going to do is, with my brush super soaked up here, see lots of water going on here, I'm going to do some spray. There. I guess I didn't need to clean that off. All right, so that's the background, and I'm going to give this a minute or two to dry. I just want to grab some water that's on here. There we go. All right, so totally wacky, but going to look awesome in a minute. And then on these guys, I didn't do anything super special with these either, so I'm going right back into that Enchanted Gold, the yellowy gold. Super watered down. And kind of just like I did with the other card, just putting a little bit right where the leaves pop out from underneath each other. This is where the metallics really shine, pun intended, I guess, because they show up so well on black. And like I said before, this is not any kind of like black watercolor paper or anything. This is just black cardstock. Most black cardstock will work. This is this just happens to be the one from Lawn Fawn. So this is black licorice. Of course, the black cardstock from Altenew will work as well, the jet black. All right, and then if I want to, I can do that same pullback technique which I find kind of helpful because, again, it's going to get rid of that hard line and just get rid of some of the extra that we don't really need. Clean off my brush a little bit. There. So that's the one with some gold on it. Okay. All right, Kate. So I really want to see this card now that I'm looking and seeing your comments on it. Cool. What weight black cardstock is this? It's just 80 pounds. Like I said, nothing special, just 80-pound black cardstock. Or whatever it is that Picket Fence, or not Picket Fence, Lawn Fawn does. Okay, so I really think that I didn't use the rhodolite. I think I used the rose, or the garnet, I think this is called, yes. No, rose quartz. So let's see. Whatever, it'll look good. So more of the same. You'll really get this technique down after having done it 3 times. And it's nice that I've got the embossing lines down because it does kind of keep things contained, right? Yeah. Oh, thanks for checking, Miss Tamp. I appreciate it. You guys are all so helpful. I mean, that's like the perfect crafting community right there. Yeah. You guys are so awesome. All right. So again, just cleaning up my lines here, pushing some of that ink back. It doesn't move as freely as it did on the watercolor paper, but it still moves pretty good. All right, so for this one, I don't have any leaves. I just have the 2 flowers. Okay. I just have to make sure that my brush stays wet enough because this paper likes to suck up all the water. All right, so that's good. So now kind of a pinky coppery one and then a gold coppery one. Oh yeah, you guys are awesome. So don't forget to like and to share and all that good fun stuff. Okay, so we're done with the watercolor. So I'll move that out of the way and close this up so no accidents. Okay, so let's let that dry for a minute. This is still a little wet. We'll let that dry. Let me grab what I think you're talking about. Okay. Oh, where is that? Okay. So I think this is what you're talking about. My storage for smaller stamps. So all of my, and let me just pull over one of my bins too. I'll pull over a mostly empty bin. So all of my storage goes in one of these bins. Here, you know what? I'm going to flip up because it'll be easier. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So all of my storage goes in one of these bins. All of my stamps are stored like this. So they all fit in there nicely. So the largest stamp sets, you know, the 6x8s, fit in here super nice. This is what I do. Okay. And I've got a couple of different things. If I don't have, if the stamp set, well, it's not really true. I'm trying out a couple of things because I don't always know exactly what I want. Some of my stamp sets are in just these little flippy pouches. You know, the simple kind of ones. I get them from Amazon because I refuse to pay like the exorbitant prices from other companies. So, and they work just fine. So they just have like a little flip top, and it fits the stamps, the dies. If you've got like Altenew, some of theirs comes with stencils. It fits those in there. Even if I have a stamp set that has a whole bunch of dies and I have them on a magnetic sheet, they all fit in there and it works just fine. The only beef that I have with these is that sometimes they like to rip at the seam here and then it's useless. And it's another piece of plastic that's going into, fortunately for me, I can recycle them. But for other people, they'd be going into a landfill, right? So then I also have these pockets. And these are just pockets, little Velcro tab on the back, envelopes. I will put these in the listing with all of the supplies for today when I go back and fix that later tonight. So this is what I use for my other storage. Again, what I like about these, and I'll show you one, actually, the one for Begonia. See, so like for the Begonia, I've got my the inserts. I do have to cut them down. They don't fit in here perfectly. So I do have to cut down like a 1/2 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch off the top. But then I put the die in the back. And then again, if there's like a magnet sheet, because I've got a whole bunch of dies, it all fits in here. So it works. These work well too. Okay. So that's that. Now, if I have a stamp set that is smaller than this is a smaller set. So like a 4x6s or whatever. So these fit in here nice. They also, you know, obviously they fit my 6x8s, right? And these fit in here well. But if they're smaller than this, if they're like 3x4s, this is probably what you've seen before. It's the same envelope, okay? It's the same envelope. But what I did, do you see that down the center? Actually, it's on the side, down the center. I took my Walnut Hollow. This is by Walnut Hollow. It is it's a heat tool. You can use it for cutting foam. You can use it for wood burning. It's basically a wood burning tool. So I use this to make little dots in the plastic to make 2 separate sides of the pouch. And that way I can get in 2 sets in here. And then in the case of these, because they're just the alphabet sets, I actually have 4 sets because I have 1 set on each side, the uppers and the lowers, or the filled in and the not filled in, whatever. So that I do. And then if they're even smaller, like the Altenew minis, I can split it into 3 sections, and then I can fit in a mini Delight and their die on the back. These are a little tight though. When I pull them out, I notice that I've been breaking the little holes that I've been doing here. So I don't know if this is a perfect thing or if I should just stick with the 2 and just say, well, that's the space they're taking up. But what I like about it is that then they're all the same size. I don't have to worry about having a small storage box, a medium storage box, large storage box. They're all the same size. They all fit in here together. So that's my thing. That's what I do. I hope that answers your question. All right. Yeah, the Altenew pouches are top loading, right? So they can fit a whole lot in there, which is good. But the little ones, do they have smaller pouches though, right? Okay. Yeah, this tool here, it is just, this one is by Walnut Hollow. And it is just a burning tool. It comes with a couple of different ends. See, this just screws off the end. And you can put different ends on here. One of the ends is like a razor blade kind of end, like an X-Acto knife. And the reason why I got this originally is I was using it to convert wood mount stamps to cling mount. And I was using this to cut the foam. So I didn't have to get like gummy scissors or whatever. It worked really nice for that. So, and when you use this, you use a glass surface underneath it, so that way you're not melting into anything else or burning like your wood countertop or anything like that. So that's it. My Tim Holtz glass works perfect for that. Okay, I got water on that. Okay, so let's put together our card. So this is dry now. It's a little wonky, but it'll press down as soon as we get some glue on it. And yes, I know I still need to do a whole room post or 2 or 10 about storage and how I have my room set up. It's only been this way for 9 months, maybe. And, but I finally feel like I have it the way I like it. So, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but behind me, I changed that up last weekend. So you want to see that? That's what it looks like now. So I got rid of or I took the shelf that went all the way across and I cut it in half so that there's more room around the sink. And then I added extra shelving on either side. And the decal in the back is a new Altenew decal that's coming out in a couple weeks. So, okay, Becca, I still need to check out that Awesome Note app. Oh, wow. Okay, so 8 to 10 in the patch. That's pretty cool. All right, so there we go. I flipped that over and gave it a good press so that way that part that was a little wonky laid down nice and flat. Okay, so we need to do some die cutting. Thanks for sticking it out with me, guys. We've had some extra questions, and of course we were all a little late with the whole technology thing today. So it is what it is. We'll finish these up and move on with our weekend. Okay. So I just need to, honestly, all I need to do is die cut these guys and arrange them per the sketch, and it'll be done. Sometimes when there we go. I had to trim a little bit of my paper off there. All right, so that one's going to go kind of in the background. So if you guys enjoyed this format with the stamp focus for a whole bunch of weeks in a row, because you know this is a new thing, so of course we can tweak it. I want it to be something that's good for you guys. Yeah, Roberta, I will link everything. I will make sure. Okay, so this piece is going to go down the middle, but I need to kind of work my flower behind it as well. So with this particular sketch, you would have the option to just smush like I did here. I put the flower behind instead of cutting it, or I could just cut off the flower and butt it right up against it. Either way will work. Yeah. Well, you know, Carolyn, you can always watch the replay, which is kind of what I like about doing it live like this or whatever. I mean, of course, you always have the replay. So it's something that you can refer back to over and over again. You don't have to worry about missing a night live because there's going to be a replay for you to come back to. And then, you know, you pull out that stamp set 6 months from now and you've got a whole bunch of ideas, right? Yeah. Good, good, good. Cool. Well, Kate, I'm glad that you pop in while you're working. I think that's awesome. Your boss, maybe not so much. I mean, unless you are the boss. Okay, so just some adhesive foams to pop that in. Okay, so there's that sketch again. So the linear piece with the circle and then the circle. Actually, it does go this way. The sketch goes this way. I've got my little sentiment here, and then we can pop in some more of these guys. I didn't use any thread on this one. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So next week, we're going to do some holiday begonias or faux roses. I swear, the more I see these, the more I think of this flower as a rose instead of a begonia, especially if you don't do the layers. It can really look like a rose for sure. Just like you said, Becca. But yeah. So next week, we're going to do some holiday ones. And then for the final week, I am going to do some stamping on fabric. And I'm going to show you a couple of different options for that, not just the brand new Altenew mixed media inks. So you know that there's more than that out there. All right. So there was that one. I really like the way those came together. They're kind of galaxy-ish with the black and the metallic and the whatever, but really, really pretty. And then, of course, these. Well, Kate, I am glad you're the boss. That's awesome. Cool. All right, guys. So we are at 5:15. Thank you for hanging in there through all of our technological difficulties. Fingers crossed next week that we don't have any problems with that. As soon as I'm done cleaning up here, I will be popping in and putting in all the details that were missing from the other live. So you'll get all of the links and all that good stuff. Thank you again for supporting me and the Crafty channel here. I really love providing all sorts of good educational crafty content for you. So don't forget, I really appreciate it if you do use my affiliate links to shop with. That just gives me a small commission on your order without any additional cost to you. It's a really great way to help support what I do here without having to shell out any extra cash for craft stuff you're already going to buy. So I appreciate it. I will see everyone next week, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Stay cool, stay safe, and I'll see you next week for some holiday Build-A-Flower begonias. Bye, guys.